morning. Welcome back to the Retirement Report. I'm Hank Parrott, your host. All right, I'm going to dive right in for you. The first concept we're going to get into is legacy planning with an IRA deferred annuity. Now, this is an area where we're in this concept basically going to create multiple IRAs in the attempt to make legacy planning of IRA money as effective as possible. Now, there are different annuities. Basically, you have some that are really do especially well for income generation, and some that will grow your money with the potential for income later, but their strength is in the returns or the performance over that of just income. So we want to be thinking when we're putting these together. So again, this piece is from the Nationwide Retirement Institute, and one of the benefits of having one IRA for required minimum distributions and another IRA for death benefit protection. So the first IRA will be funded with enough IRA assets to cover the RMDs for all IRAs. So in other words, keeping in mind the way IRAs work, I can, if I've got, let's say, 4 different IRAs, maybe I've got a 401k, maybe a SEP IRA, maybe a traditional IRA, or maybe just 4 traditional IRAs of money that over the years I've maybe had in company plans, 401ks, 403bs, and the like over the years, and then have, as I've left or moved around employers, I've moved that money into IRAs. Or it could be when you retire, we look at your total and we say, you know what, we're going to segment this money out into separate IRAs for this planning purpose. All right, so the goal being then, if I've got, again, 4 IRAs, 4 traditional IRAs, and I have to take required minimum distributions from those at age 72, okay, I have a choice. I can either take that required minimum distribution from each of the IRAs, or I could take from 1 or 2 IRAs enough to meet the required minimum distribution for all the IRAs. So that kind of flexibility gives me a lot of benefit in terms of how I can use that to my advantage. So the first IRA be funded with enough, again, to cover the IRA in this concept, right? So we want one that we're going to take RMDs from, and then we want the others to grow. So I may have an income an income annuity where it's going to give me the best there. So in fact, one company that I like, Nationwide, has a great product. They're one of the better ones right now as far as income on this particular income rider that they have. And then another company, Athene, that we work with, has a really great growth product. Now you can shop these around, compare companies, compare products. I mean, the goal of it is how in fact can I get them, you know, maximize, of course, my benefits. So I'm looking for the best income product, and that one I can convert that to income and start taking and have it cover my required minimum distributions. So this planning, basically, the way I do this with clients is I'll sit down with them, I'll go over all their numbers, do up a comprehensive financial plan for them. Part of that then, once we have that plan in place and we know what we need as far as our needed rate of return on our money to accomplish our financial goals, how much income we're going to need to pull from our different accounts in retirement, and then we start thinking in terms of identifying, setting up these different accounts for the purposes they're going to serve. So if I know I need to cover my RMDs, my required minimum distributions, and I want to also maximize the income at the same time and have that income increase over my lifetime. All right. In other words, not just sit there. Keep in mind a couple things. Now, you've put money into those IRAs. You've, into your retirement plans over the years. You've got tax deferral. You haven't had to pay tax on it. So the tax considerations in this situation on basically your RMDs, when you start taking them out, and the required beginning date for that being April 1st of the year after you turn 72. Now, this gets into different type of planning strategies as well. For most of us, we're going to take it in the year in which we turn 72. We're going to start taking those required minimum distributions. And as we take those out, of course, that's going to be taxed at ordinary income tax rates, which are the highest income tax rates. We're not going to get any preferential treatment like we would with, say, capital gains or qualified dividends on monies in IRAs. So you need to, if we're doing these, there's some other rules that go along with it in terms of how you make the transfers and that type of thing. But basically, We're combining in this one. We can go ahead and look at the next slide, and it'll show the steps and how this works. So the client, basically you're going to use two non-annuitized IRAs, one for the RMDs and one for death benefit, meaning something that's going to give you the most for legacy. And there are some companies, for instance, that will give you bonus interest and bonuses up front as a means to help you specifically for death benefit, all right, to maximize the legacy. So again, finding the right product for your particular situation and what your needs are is the key here. So the RMD amounts are going to be taken from one IRA, the others are going to be allowed to grow and basically enhance that death benefit. So you can see there on the left, the IRA with the RMD account, that money's coming out as regular income to you, and it has to be, of course, at least enough to cover the required minimum distributions. If your income needs are higher than just the RMD, of course, we can take that into consideration, and we're going to make that income match up more with your financial need, with the just making sure the RMD is at least being met. And then the rest of it grows, and this is a benefit for a married couple. This is a great way to make sure that the survivor of the two of you would be taken care of as well and not have any change in lifestyle throughout their lifetime. And this is one of the strategies that can be used for that. So your IRA, now keep in mind, with IRAs, it has to stay in the IRA owner's name. It can't change. You cannot add a joint person like your spouse, for instance, as the owner. Now, some companies, though, and what we look for is where we can add normally the annuitant and the owner are the same, but in some instances we can add the spouse as a co-annuitant or at least as a primary beneficiary to make sure that the funds flow to the spouse and that they are able to continue the plan if it's best to do that, or if it needs to adapt that plan to them, that we can do that as well. This kind of planning, ideal for someone 5 to 10 years away from retirement, who are going to be using IRA assets for income. So tax consideration, again, the plan is designed for, and the plan document for let me see if we've got, in fact, this one we were talking about how you can take it out of IRAs and that, but another concept is where, for business owners, where you can put money into a retirement plan that you've set up for the purpose of using for income for life. I'm going to share that concept with you when we return, but first a quick break. Join us here. We'll be right back on the Retirement Report.